Okay, so today we're going to take a look at installing an aftermarket backup camera on your car. I'm going to be putting this into a Jeep Grand Cherokee. It's a Jeep WJ, so it's a 2001, and I'm going to walk you through that. So here we go. Alright, so since the Jeep is a hatchback style kind of door closure at the back, you're going to have to get inside that door. So what I've done on the outside here, there's a strip that goes on here that houses the little lights for your license plate lights, and I took that off, and that runs through the door right here. I'm going to run the wires from the camera through there. It's already grommeted for the other lighting wires, so I'm going to do that. These license plate holes, if you only use 2 of them, you might be able to use one of the other holes because they go right through the door as well, and then you wouldn't have to drill. So depending what vehicle you're doing this on, that might be an option. So we'll go inside, and this is the inside door panel from the hatch door. So I've taken that off, and you're going to need some of these handy little body trim removal tools to do that nicely. So those work really good for that. Here you can see this is that trim panel that goes on the outside of the hatch door that has the little lights here for the license plate. This is the camera, and that bolts on with your license plate. So the only access hole that I made is actually right here on the trim panel, and that's just so the wire can fit in there like so and have clearance to get in the back of this to run through this wiring harness, as you can see right here. So what I did to notch that out is I just used a little round file here, and that works really good to just file that open a bit there. It's the same size as the wire, so it worked out perfectly. If you don't have that, maybe you want to drill a little hole, that's fine too. So this rubber grommet here and the wiring, that unclips from inside the door here. There's that hole where it comes through, and it attaches to the rest of the harness here. So we've undone that to free that whole thing up and get this set up for this part. And next, since I want this to be a very clean looking kind of install, I'm going to be running the cabling, because it's not a wireless camera, it's a wired one. So once it's inside the door here and running through, we're going to fish it through here, and it's going to come through this wire grommet here and go into the body there. So again, like I said, I want this to be very clean as possible of an install anyways. So this is going to get it from the door into the body with the rest of the wires that run the rest of the stuff on here, like the wiper and all that stuff. So your wiper wires, your door lock wires, and all that stuff are in this harness here. And then it's going to come into the body, and I've pulled back some of the panels here already a little bit. And we're going to run it down behind these plastic trim panels all the way over to the front of the vehicle, where you can see the screen display unit is, and we'll get to mounting that later. So that's the goal, and we got to get from here to there as clean as possible. So here we go. Okay, as you can see, I've got the trim piece mounted back on again with the lights there and so on for the license plate, and I've got the camera on. Now I found it actually worked better to mount the camera first before attaching the trim panel that holds it in place. And then you can get your wire there lined up nice and tucked away. So anyway, so far so good. You can see it's pretty neat and tidy and back to normal. And on the inside, I've reconnected the harness there, and this is the set of wires that comes through for the camera. I don't know about other brands, but this particular one that I got has white wire and a green wire here. And if you cut the green wire, then the camera has these LEDs on here, these little lights, and they light up automatically in the dark. So I guess that's this sensor right here. When it's dark out, they light up. If you cut the green wire, those lights will not light up. Then they just stay off. So that's an option you're going to have to consider at this point in the installation if you want them to work or not. The white wire, if you cut that one, then it turns the camera into a reverse image. So that's if you want to use it facing forward. So there you go. Now at this point, you also have to decide how you want the power to run to this thing. You got a couple different options here. What's included is, well, everything you need is included in the package, which is great. But this piece here, you can see, plugs into the cigarette lighter, and it has a little switch on there that lights up when you turn it on. So if you want to run the whole unit, you can use it that way with the cigarette lighter. And if you do, what you do is you plug this end of it into this end here of this other long harness wire, and then this end goes into the screen. Okay, so those two come off together here at the one end, and then the other end over here, that's going to plug in at the back end here to the camera, which we just pulled through the door. Now the other way to do it, you can leave this end here instead at the front, attached to the screen, and forget about this piece and use these two ends at the back. So in that case, this one would attach to the camera, and this one here would attach to this piece right here on this harness, which has these two wires coming off of it bared at the end. In this case, you would connect that to your reverse light wiring. So you'd ground the black wire, and the red wire would go to your hot wire for your backup light. And then the camera would only turn on when you go into reverse. Okay? If you use the cigarette lighter one, you can turn the camera on and off whenever you want. So you can have it on while you're driving. Okay? So that's the choice you got to make at this point. Okay, once you're behind this kick panel in the cargo area on the driver's side, you've got the wires here. This is the end that comes. This is the powered side, and your truck should have that there whether you've got a tow package or not. So this end goes down there and comes out the back at your trailer plug. So anyway, on your body side of the connector, turns out this one right here, let me just see here, that one is number 4. Yeah. Anyway, it's the red one with the tan tracer on it, and that one is a ignition switched hot lead. And on this particular vehicle, it actually is the same circuit as the cigarette lighter. So how that wound up to be, I don't know, but that's what the manual says, the shop manual. So I'm going to use this to power the circuit for the camera and not use the actual cigarette lighter and that plug with the switch on it. I think that's maybe a little bit inconvenient. And instead of hooking it into the backup lamp, I think I'm just going to wire it onto here, and then it will be on all the time. And I think that might be kind of interesting. So, yeah, I'm going to hook the hot onto there, and then ground out the black one with a screw into the sheet metal here, and then we'll have that wired up. Okay, so it turned out that the cable, if I wired it there, isn't long enough to go through the body and into the back of the door and meet up with the camera cable back here. So what I'm doing is in the inside of the D pillar, the back here on the driver's side, is this connector here, and it has a dark blue with a white tracer wire on it, which is also a ignition switched 12 volt source. So I'm going to wire the positive onto there and insert that back into the connector block, and then ground out the black wire just with a screw onto the sheet metal here somewhere. But right now what I've done is I've taken all of these wires, it's 2 of them that go back to the camera, and I've taped it all the way along to add rigidity, because this has to be fished from inside here into the door, and getting it through this piece of rubber here is extremely difficult, but I managed to get it through there. And now I'm going to send it up into the lift gate and go back through here to our camera cable. Alright, so I've got that wire tied into there now, and I've got the ground right there. So before we go any further, what I'm going to do is try it out. So I've plugged it into the screen here, and I'm going to go and turn the key on and see if we get some camera action. There we go. Looks like it's working just fine. Pull the tailgate down. Yeah, there we go. That's working great. Okay, well then we're going to complete the installation now and run the rest of this cabling to the front, and then mount the screen here, and then we'll call it done. Alright, so I put back all the trim panels. You can see the kick panels, the D-pillar panel, and the liftgate panel. Put that all back. I ran the wire nice and neat behind all these panels, zip tied it in place so it's secure, and then down under the C pillar and under the panel on the floor, under the B pillar, and then along the sill here by the driver's side, and up the A pillar. So it's in behind here and right just tucked in there, and if you look real close you can just catch a peek of it there. And then it just runs right along to the dash there, and here's where I'm going to mount the screen, and we'll do that here right away. Alright, so here's the screen, and it comes with a suction cup mount that you can put on the dash or on the windshield. I've taken this microfiber cloth here and cleaned up the windshield right in front of the gauge pod here, and I think I'm just going to mount it right there. So we'll start with that. All right, put the suction cup on. It's very secure, it feels like. Now the wire on here is a little bit long, so I'm just going to wrap it kind of around here a bit to keep it looking neat. The whole idea of this install is to keep it looking clean. So you can see this wire just comes out like that, and I want to keep it looking tidy, so I'm going to mount that and do it that way. Now another thing too, when you're putting these connectors together at both ends of this long cable, it only goes together a certain way, so make sure it goes on the right way. On the outside they got little arrows pointing together, and there's a little notch on the inside that fits into a slot on the other end. So anyway, you got to make sure you put the cable together properly. Okay, so there it is. The screen is now installed, and that's the Lee Kulu reverse backup camera installation. I think it looks pretty good, pretty clean. And I'll just show you from the other side of the windshield here too. A little bit hard to see maybe, but anyway, there it is, and that's the suction cup. So yeah, looks all right. And at the back end where the camera is, now of course the license plate is going to go over the bracket here, but there's an adjustment screw. Might be, yeah, you can't really see it, but just behind here on both sides there's a little screw so you can adjust the angle of your camera, tilt it up or down. I've got it facing straight back, and I think that'll be probably the best. Now when I was showing you earlier in the video, on the cable there's a little white wire and a green wire, and if you clip the green one, that deactivates the LED lights here, which turn on with the little sensor here at night in the dark. I didn't clip that wire, I just left it. So anyway, and the little white wire, I didn't clip that either, because that reverses the image if you want to use this as a front-facing camera. So I left those unclipped. We'll see how that works. So back inside now, I did wire this up, as I said, to be on with the ignition on. The whole system takes no more than 2 amps is what it's stamped as. So consider that when you're choosing a circuit to wire it into. Like I said, the circuit that I wired it into is an ignition switched on circuit, used as a sensing circuit. So there's not a lot of draw in there, so it'll be just fine. So let's see how it looks when we turn it on. There you go. And that's it, looking straight back. Now, being on all the time, you might think that's really kind of strange, but not really. It has adjustments on here with buttons just on the back side to adjust the brightness, the contrast, so you can always turn it down and dim it if you don't want it bright. And then you can turn the lines on and off as well. So, yeah. Anyway, that's it. I think that's a pretty good walkthrough of a pretty clean install for the Lee Kulu backup camera. So if you like that, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Appreciate that. And if you want to leave a comment, that's fine too. I've been working on this outdoors in the winter, and it's not really a lot of fun. So working with all those plastic panels and everything that all the cars are made of, hoping nothing breaks and cracks up when you're working out in the cold. So anyway, I'm glad I got it done. It was a little bit of a mild day today, so awesome. Anyway, be sure to like, subscribe, and you can leave a comment. See you again next time. Thanks for watching. Bye. You know, liking and subscribing really helps a small channel, so thank you so much.